In this review, we're going to be taking a very close look at the Black Mamba LS-05 Ancient Leader Grimlock for Transformers Age of Extinction. This guy is a literal beast on a masterpiece scale, and I cannot wait to get into the details. So by all means, let's get into the review. Yo, what's up guys, Alfonso Peterman here, and welcome back one and all to another episode of Teletraan Reviews. This is a very special review for a special character, actually my very first Dinobot figure that I have ever owned, and I'm very excited for it. Before I get started, I want to give a giant shout out to Shozy Store for supplying me with this product for review. They have an amazing selection on their site with a bunch of fourth party, third party, and just a good variety of Transformers figures, and also Marvel as well. And I've also seen quite a bit of Gundam, so if you're into those things, head to the site in the link below and check out the website, and you can get this guy and others on ShozyStore.com. This dude is literally amazing, and I'm not exaggerating. When I got him in, I didn't expect for the scale to be as big as he was, and I saw some of the pictures online, and he really looked very, very interesting, and he grabbed my interest immediately. And yes, of course, I'm talking about the Black Mamba, this giant LS-05 Ancient Leader Grimlock for Transformers Age of Extinction. Beautiful, massive packaging, as you can see. He's displayed there with the beautiful art. You got Grimlock, and I mean, this is really just like a beautiful piece. On the side of the packaging, you don't really have much. You only have like the art of him there, which is actually pretty nice. I like that. And nothing at the top, just the Age of 6+. On the side, you got Ancient Leader. There you go. You got the title there. Of course, that's the name of this one because they have to give it third-party names. They can't give it the official name of the character. And there you have Grimlock shown in his robot and alt mode with his accessories on display. A bunch of foreign text here as well. And it does say that it has a die-cast metal transformation, which is pretty cool. This is a window box that I don't open these, so we're gonna both figure out what's back here. Okay, so there's more more art, robot mode, and alt mode. I think it's the same thing pretty much that's on the back, so that's fun. I like that. And of course, he would be displayed on the in that plastic there. This is a massive thing, so it's really a lot to handle. I have the Black Mamba LS-05 Ancient Leader. This guy is stellar. Now, they have the upscale Studio Series, they have the actual Studio Series, and then I think there's like a Weijing Grimlock as well that I've seen, and from all of them, I think this one is the best representation. It looks more accurate to what he did in the film for robot and alt mode, and the articulation is fantastic, along with the accessories. So here is a close look. I literally have to bend him to give you a look at the front, but there you go. That's a beautiful figure, detailed for days. I mean, just the accuracy is so freaking amazing and so spot on. I love the giant, the giant T-Rex, the two halves of the head for the shoulder pads. I love that giant, that very long stem for the top of the head. And I love the teeth, and just very primitive and very beast-like. This character is, and he's a very sturdy figure as well. He's got a good bit of ratchet joints on him as well to kind of keep him sturdy, and that is something that I really do appreciate with the engineering of this guy. From head to toe, I mean, these giant dinosaur feet, I mean, this is literally, you can tell this is not a giant car. You can tell this is a prehistoric beast of amazing proportions. Here's the back of them, beautiful sculpting on the back. Pretty much uniform painting all around. It's kind of this dark green with some gray stripped brushing on it to kind of give it a little bit of a weathering effect, which I really like about it. What makes the figure stand out, of course he has that green painting, but as I said, there's like little gray brushing, I guess you can call it dry brushing, on all around the figure. A uniform mixture of that green and gray. And I like how it's not like, it's not a smooth gray stripes, it's very rough. So it gives him that prehistoric, that ancient aesthetic, and I really love that about this figure. He does come with a few accessories, and I'm going to get into that. He has this giant ball weapon here with the spikes on it that he would use, of course, when he was battling Optimus Prime in Age of Extinction. Beautiful detailing and painting on that as well. I mean, if you take a close look at it, you got the spikes. They're not very pointy. They just kind of have a flattened top. But it actually looked really nice, and it's the same uniform painting that you see on the figure itself, with the exception of maybe a couple more details. In addition, he also comes with the tongue of Grimlock, which is what you'll basically add on the Dino mode, the tongue, and this is actually really nice. They didn't really have to add the tongue because Grimlock, you know, the mouth and the teeth kind of close on each other, so they're very tight. You don't really have to add the tongue, but this was a nice touch. And even on the tongue, even on the metallic tongue, you have that silver and dark gray mixture, giving a nice gradient to it. And on the underside, it's got some little pieces there, pretty hollow. And even the tongue has some articulation. Like, this is really nice. So this comes separate. You have to attach this when you transform him, because I believe that, you know, the head cannot, this is the head of the Dino mode here, and the head cannot completely compress into the arm securely until you remove the tongue. So that's why it comes as a separate accessory. And this Mace, this giant Mace, is another accessory of Grimlock and pretty much his main weapon. This is what we've seen pretty much more than we've seen this guy. We've seen this one more in Age of Extinction. We saw it once, I know, when he was fighting Optimus, and we actually saw it when he was blocking the bridge in Age of Extinction. The Mace itself has some articulation. You know, you can move these spikes around, you can flatten them up, and I believe it's probably for the, you know, the transformation. This is pretty much how it looks. You got some nice detailing all on here. This is absolutely exceptional. I didn't know this. I actually was about to close the box and put it away before realizing this, and I didn't think I saw this on the website, but he actually does come with a scale-appropriate Optimus Prime, which is essentially the Premier Edition Optimus Prime, but just downscaled and repainted, essentially. I mean, it's kind of the same paint, but the paint is much better, and I'm looking at the Premier Edition, and I'm like, oh my god. If they did this on the big one would have been a full-on success. But this is a close detailed look of the Optimus Prime that you actually get with Grimlock, and he is beautiful all around. He's pretty much the exact same as the Premier Edition Optimus, just smaller and repainted. Here's a closer look at the Sword of Judgment that he comes with. It's not orange like the first Premier Edition has, but I do have one kink with this, and there is some third-party mistakes. As you can see with the painting, there's a little bit of red painting on the silver sword, which of course obviously is a mistake, but it's a third-party figure, and that does happen quite a few times. The other side is silver all the way, so I'll just flip it around to the other side. It's not that big a deal for me. And just for a quick comparison, I'm going to show you what the Premier Edition Optimus Prime looks like. Of course, this is him with the shield and the sword, and the original painting, of course, that's the Optimus Prime. And this is a comparison of him with the one that comes with Grimlock. Of course, if you put the feet together, that's a very noticeable and dramatic downscale. Personally, from what we've seen in the film, I think he kind of was bigger than the small guy, but smaller than the big guy. Like, he's somewhere in the middle, because when I saw him standing above Grimlock, when Grimlock was on the ground, he was tall enough to put his neck at the top of Grimlock's head. This guy can't do that. And his arm was long enough for the sword to reach to the end of Grimlock's lower eye, and only this guy can do that. So and also kind of when I saw him in the charge scene in Age of Extinction with the Dinobots, his leg comes a significant length down Grimlock's neck, not as well as this small guy does. So while this guy might look better with him in robot mode, he might scale the best, and as you can see, this noticeable size difference. I don't think he was really that small. Maybe it's just my analysis is a little skewer, but I think he was bigger than this. So, to quickly go over some articulation, this guy actually, to say that he's like not designed with car parts. He's actually designed with like a lot of abstract pieces. He actually has some pretty fair articulation, and he's pretty sturdy considering he has a whole bunch of ratchet joints. So for the arm can come all the way about right here, and it's a ratchet joint, so these guys are pretty tough. It does come, it's tough, but it comes all the way around. I would say it comes all the way up to like right here, the arm, because on the back, the horns of Grimlock obstruct with the back pieces, and you can technically force it, but I won't do it, but you can if you really want to get it all the way up there and all around. The arm does swivel all the way around here. The arm can do that, and then the arm can come all the way. You got an elbow bend as well. So you got about a 90-degree elbow bend for the arm, and that's the same on the other side as well. This hand does not rotate. The right arm hand does not rotate, but the left one does. As you can see, so it's not a symmetrical figure. He's a Dino, so but he does have articulation in the fingers. So you got the finger articulation coming out here. This is about as far as it can come out, and they are individually articulated. They just have one joint at the base of the fingers, kind of like that. And then, of course, you have the thumb as well. For this arm, the arm comes out it's not as much as the other side, because, of course, there's more pieces obstructing it. It does rotate completely around, like this. And it does come up, I believe, yes. Comes up about a 90 degree. He's a little tough. He's a tough guy. He's a tough fella. And, of course, the hand rotates. The hand rotates. And same issue with this. It actually can go all around, but not a recommendation because you are tampering with the horns of the Dino mode here, and you can actually damage them. They're made of rubber, but this wear and tear can really make a lasting impact on them. He's got full waist articulation like this, so he can go side to side, and it stops about right there. The legs can come out like so. You can technically split up the hip skirt to free up some more space, but I don't recommend it. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be split up like that. So yeah, not really gonna recommend that. The front panel of his hip does come all the way up to allow a higher kick, which is about right here. So it does come up, but it is a little tough. The articulation's not really gonna come all the way up. And then he does bend at the knee. And he has a very nice bend there. I mean, that's like almost a double jointed bend. He's got some knee pad articulation here. This little knee thing does move around for the knee. And for the back, you can take the back skirt and flip it all the way up here. So it'll clear up some space for it to come all the way back. And that's about how far back it comes. For a Dino, this is actually pretty good articulation to say that this is a dinosaur. And the leg does rotate all the way around, like so. And the feet does have some pivots. You can do kind of come up, you can come back, and then you can actually, I'm gonna hold there you go, you can rotate. It's a ball joint, so you can rotate all around, but there's so many pieces you gotta hold in place, but it does rotate all the way around. And for the head, the main event, the head you can go left and you can do right. You can come up about this high, and you can go low about that low. It's on this rotating panel here that flips upside down for the Dino mode, so the transformation does help the articulation of the head fairly well. And yes, pretty much one of my favorite things about figures is this has LEDs. And amazingly, it already came with the batteries, so that was great. I don't know if that's just my unit or if that's going to be everybody's, but mine came with batteries. There is a red button on the back. I'm going to see if I can move it up. Yep, so there's a red button back here. Giant red button, you can't miss it. And all you're going to do is just push it. Boom! LEDs, the Grimlock, king of the Dinobots. The ancient leader has awakened. Oh, that just beautiful bright LEDs, bringing him to life, bringing that beast to life. Now, in order to apply the mace weapon to the hand, of course, you can open up the hand here. I'm going to open it up, and then there should be a little tab that is on the inside of the hand right in there. And then this is like, there's a little stick out portion of the mace right over here. So all you do is align it with the tab. And there you have the beautiful, barbaric Mace attached to Grimlock in all of its wonder. It really brings that king out of him. It just really kind of completes the overall display quality, and is beautiful, 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 beautiful. And for the ball weapon, the giant spike ball thing that he uses to smash the ground and smash his opponents, all you're doing is you're literally just sliding it on like so. You just slide it in and just make sure it's aligned properly. Booyah. And then you just enclose it. Just like that. And there you have Grimlock with his mace and his battle balls. And it just really completes his look. It really makes him look like a king. And here we have Grimlock himself, King of Dinobots, in Dino mode. And I will say his transformation is nothing short of satisfying to do. This is really not difficult to transform. The most difficult part, I'd probably say, is maybe the jaw, the lower jaw, and probably the tail piece to kind of get everything compressed. But that's literally it. Everything is very, very simple and streamlined. I don't think it's very complicated of a process. But my God, this guy is a beautiful, this guy is a beautiful, stellar figure. I have never seen anything like this. I have never seen anything like this. I have truly been amazed. This is like borderline masterpiece movie series. That's how absolutely stellar this figure really is. To go over the articulation for the alt mode, which is my first time ever doing that, because usually the alt mode is a car or a helicopter. But in his case, it's another creature. It is not a giant car. So for the first time ever, I think, ever, for my reviews, we're gonna do some alt mode articulation. The jaw does come out, and it gives him that roaring effect. And to enter the tongue, of course this is the tongue how I showed you before. You just basically tab this piece in to a piece that is further deep in there. It's kind of hard to show. And essentially you just tab it in, align it with the pieces in there, and then there he's got the tongue like he did in Transformers Age of Extinction, and then of course the last night that he was shown. The tongue actually has articulation of its own. You can flatten it like so, or you can raise it up like so to the top of the mouth, or you can center it so it's very visible from a distance. The entire neck section has a rotation, so it does rotate this entire neck section on the giant. Sounds like a ratchet joint of some kind. It goes all around, but this is for the transformation, but you can technically, you can do this. This is possible. The thigh joints actually can rotate the entire figure up and down. So you can get like a downwards and upwards slope. And you actually have some leg articulation. While it is limited, it is there. It does come out like so. He can sidekick someone, and then it does come back down. Of course, it comes all the way up like so, and it actually is level with his head. Look at the detail under that foot. Just beautiful. And it does come all the way back like so to kind of simulate that he's running towards something. So you most definitely can achieve that. As for the tail portion, the articulation is limited if you want to keep the tail looking the way it does, but there is a portion of it where you can lower the skirt of the tail, which is basically the base of it, and then the tail will be able to articulate a little bit. I'm not going to push it too much because obviously that's not, that's kind of untransforming it a little bit to just get some articulation in, and it does not necessarily do that. His arms are also on a ball joint, so they go further back like this, and there's some pieces that obstruct it, but it can go all the way around, and the same goes for this one. It does go out. So you can move the arms around a good bit. Literally the only downsides of this, in my opinion, just in my personal preference, is that the neck is a little fat with these pieces here. It's a little fat, and there's no LEDs for the eyes. But that's about the only thing that I can really say. As far as a figure that's not a masterpiece or an NPM remake, the fact that this is just a figure that they've created. Look at the horns on this dude. Like, it's just so representative of what we've seen in the film. And this review just cannot be completed successfully without doing the thing that we all want to do. And that's place the Optimus on top so that he's riding Grimlock into battle. Now, unfortunately, what I would have preferred is there be like a tab on his back and like something on his underside where he can actually peg into it and securely sit. That's not the case, but you can just kind of position him on top. You just kind of have to balance it as best as you can. But once you do, that is what I'm talking about. That is Optimus and Grimlock charging into battle together, unified. That is Optimus Prime and Grimlock. Oh boy, oh my god. Literally, this guy is the only figure that's in my Optimus collection on my Optimus display shelf that's not Optimus. Because he mainly looks good. He shines the most when he is being ridden by Optimus. This is a perfect combination. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. That's how he looks with the Premier Edition Grimlock. I mean, that's obviously that's a little bit too big, but he was much smaller than that, but he was bigger than what they came with. But I don't care. I don't care. One of them is going on Grimlock, and that's exactly what's happening. They look perfect nonetheless. But overall, if I had to rate LS-05 Ancient Leader Grimlock for Black Mamba, the robot mode on a scale from 1 to 10, he gets a 10. If I had to rate the Dino mode on a scale from 1 to 10, he gets a 10. I'm literally giving him a perfect score for the price that he's being asked for, and the accessory to Optimus that comes with him, the articulation, the paint, the accessories, and the overall design appeal. He literally just tops the charts. This is probably the best quality we're gonna get, right under the NPM level of quality. And even that is going to be very close to this, because this does very well with the engineering, and the fact that it transforms and looks so accurate in both modes is mind-blowing. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I got more reviews and toy hunts and unboxings and everything on the way, so make sure you hit that notification bell as well, because there's a lot of weird stuff with the algorithm on YouTube where you won't even see when I post some things new, so please drop that notification bell. If you want to get some merch, it is on the merch shelf below. And once again, big thanks to Shoji Store for supporting me with this guy. He's a masterpiece. If you want to get him, I'll put a link in the description box below to the Shoji Store site. If they don't have it in stock, I'm sure they're going to restock soon. Well, thanks for watching. This is your Teletraan reviewer, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Till all are one.